Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here, and in this video I'm going to cover how to smoke with a gas grill setup. I've already shown you how to make the fire for your charcoal grill if you have one, but if you have a gas grill, don't worry, you can still make yourself some really awesome barbecue. And basically you're going to burn like wood pellets or chips in either an aluminum foil tray, or you can go out and get something specific for the task, like these amazing oval smoke tubes. These are the 12-inch version, and I started out with one, and that was pretty good, but to get the level of smoke that I wanted, that matched more of what I can do with my charcoal grill, I had to get two of them. And they're cheap enough that if you have a gas grill, it's better to get two of these than it is to go out and buy an entirely new grill just to smoke some barbecue. Now these are going to get filled up with wood, and they're going to smolder as you're cooking, so you want to position them in a way that allows you to use a burner that's not directly under the meat, plus you don't want the burner directly under this wood. For my next video I'm going to show you how to do turkey. So basically, to get the grill up to about the 200 to 250 degree temperature that you want, you can do that on one burner, at least on this grill. So usually I run the far left one. I put one tube over here, and then I place one tube here, and the turkey can sit in the middle of these two tubes, and that burner is right here, which is far enough away from this that it's not going to start all the wood on the fire, all the wood pellets. And if all that wood pellet blazes up at once because it's over a heat source, it'll jack up the heat of the grill and it'll overcook the turkey. It'll cook it too fast, and almost immediately you'll see like a temperature spike of about 500 degrees if that whole thing catches on fire at one time, instead of just smoldering and producing smoke. So that's my turkey setup. Now if I was doing some ribs, what I've done is I'll put these like right up against either side. Maybe if I'm doing two racks of ribs anyway, I'll lay them lengthwise here and here and away from the center burner. And I'll light just the center burner and use that for cooking. And I'll have the two racks far enough away that they're not at risk of being overheated. Brisket could also be done in the same setup as the turkey, or pork butt could be done in that setup, where you have the far left burner lit, the meat in between two smoke tubes. Basically, when filling the tubes, you want to fill up to about an inch from the top. Inch is the width of your thumb, just about. So about the second hole here on the grate, that's where you want your pellets filled up to. And for my turkey, usually you want to go with a light wood, so I'm using mesquite again today. The other reason I'm using mesquite is because that's what I have, and I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison when I first used these. So what I did was I went out and bought mesquite chunks and mesquite pellets, and I smoked some ribs using both methods. There's one tube filled up, and the reason you keep it an inch down from the top is so when it turns on the side, the pellets don't fall out of the tube. I also have some pictures that I can put up now for you to look at both types, and I'll tell you which one's which. And they both look identical, or near identical as far as I can tell, as far as the amount of bark I was able to get on that particular day, which varies from day to day, it seems, based on conditions and what I do to the meat. And the amount of smoke ring. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, the smoke ring on the gas grill might have been a little bit greater than what I was able to achieve on the charcoal grill. And part of that is how smoke ring occurs in the meat and how it penetrates the meat. And I'll go over that in a video later describing bark formation and smoke ring formation. Because that's one of the things I've run into is most people don't understand what exactly how bark is formed, and they do stuff that leads to bad barbecue rather than in the attempt to obtain that bark that they're after. For lighting these, you're going to need a propane torch, and you want to basically just keep the torch turned down kind of low and put it on the pellets for 45 seconds. And there'll be a small flame burning. You want that to burn for 10 minutes once that's lit. And on windy days that can be kind of a problem. Usually I'll try to move the grill. You're going to want to keep the grill open so it's getting as much oxygen in there as possible to keep it burning. But you want that to burn 10 minutes, and if I notice it go out, usually I'll relight it. Although if it's smoking really good, usually you don't have to do that. So now we'll let those two burn for 10 minutes, make sure they're established. After that happens, you want to extinguish the flame by blowing on it, and then close the lid and start cooking. And at this point I have the grill shut off. It's not until I close the lid to start cooking that I actually turn it on. And part of this was beforehand I figured out what settings I need to achieve a certain grill temp. So I can light the burner, set it to that, close it, put the food on there, and just go and not have to worry about anything. So really the easiest way to smoke or barbecue is using the gas grill. You can almost set it, forget it, and go. I do usually check on it once in a while, especially with ribs. You have to do that half hour, lift the lid and apply mop sauce. But as far as tending the fire, you just need to make sure it doesn't go out. These smoke tubes can be used in a couple different ways. You can have one in the grill going and another one set up, and as this one burns out, which is about 4 hours worth of time, you can light the other one on a fireproof surface, get it going, and then transfer it into the grill for so each one burns 4 hours. You could smoke up to 8 hours if you had two of them and you burn them in sequence like this. I burn them in parallel like this because I'm only cooking a turkey which is going to need like 4 hours to smoke. And using these both at the same time, it produces a lot of smoke at one time and gives me a heavier smoke ring than I normally would get just running single. And if I wanted to do two for 8 hours, I could use 4 of these and set them up that way. Like have 2 burning and then have 2 on standby on the outside and set them on fire as these 2 burn out for that 8 hours of smoking. And really, like once we get to that point, I can continue the slow cooking process without the smoke, because the bark and the smoke ring are already going to be established. And so at that point, we're just focusing on cooking from then on out. You're not really adding anything additional by smoking past 8 hours. It's just that the piece of meat you might be cooking is so large that the internal temp hasn't come up yet. And you could cook it in the oven at that point if you really wanted to get to where you needed to be, internal temp wise. The addition of the smoke at that point is really not getting you anything. That's probably an unpopular opinion, and I'm sure I'll get harassed for it, but that's just from what I know. These have been burning for 10 minutes now, and if it was still flaming, I would blow it out, but it's not. The flame went out on its own, so I'm good. Next step to set up the grill is just to ignite this burner. And now close the grill. It's ready to go. So that's how you set up your grill for smoking. Same thing, it's kind of universal. You can throw anything in there. Another great thing about these tubes is, like, let's say I was cold smoking fish or cheese. You can light just the tubes, no heat source, put them in some sort of fireproof box if you don't want to put it on your grill, and smoke your cheese or cold smoke your fish that way. That's not an option with the charcoal grill because you have to have that ignition source for the wood. Where here, these pellets are just smoldering on their own. They'll produce a little bit of heat, but not enough to melt the cheese. And you just leave the grill turned off. So that's one thing that this can do that the charcoal grill cannot do with this setup. And it works on basically the same concept that an electronic smoker would, except for the electronic smoker, or the electric smoker, is using electric coils to heat up those pellets and make them combust. So that's all I have on setting up and smoking with your gas grill. Hope you like the video. Again, the smoke tubes will be down in the description if you want to purchase those. And thanks for watching. Hit the like button and please subscribe.